What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll be breaking down the latest player connected to the New York Mets in free agency, as a report came out last night at the time recording this from Jon Heyman for the MLB, saying the following: that yes, the Mets are showing interest in their former longtime southpaw Steven Matz and are looking for a potential reunion. So that's what I'm going to be breaking down in today's video. Everything there is to know about Steven Matz, how he fared in 2021 and his overall game, even though you guys know by now exactly who Steven is, the potential of him coming to the Mets, how likely, unlikely is it, my personal stance on if this is the right route, wrong route, why exactly the Mets are even targeting Steven Matz in the first place, and so much more. So as always, folks, make sure you stay all the way till the end of the video. Follow the all my thoughts on Steven Matz and the potential of him landing with the New York Mets and if it's the right fit or not. And again, folks, if you ended up enjoying this kind of Mets content and you want to see more great Mets content like this, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button, sharing this video with your friends, on the notification bell, all those great things. Thank you all so much for the continued support, folks. Help us get to 10K subs. Now let's jump right into today's video. And just when you thought that Jacob deGrom was the last man standing from this coveted mid-2010s rotation for the Mets, with Noah Syndergaard being parted with, now that he is an LA Angel, here now we have reports connecting the Mets to southpaw Steven Matz. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of valid reasons as to why the Mets would be going down this route, but there's also valid reasons as to why this could be potentially head-scratching. But let's start off with Steven Matz. We know the story with him. 30-year-old southpaw, drafted by the Mets out of high school, grew up a diehard Mets fan from Long Island, entire Met family that he has, and he spent 6 years during his time in Queens, and it was nothing perfect. A lot of inconsistencies between a lot of injuries, inconsistencies with his performance, especially getting out of the first inning for one of multiple things that I made note of throughout the years as a fan. But he really felt that a change of scenery was needed, at least the Mets did, and that proved to hold true because last offseason, the Mets gave him a one-year, $5 million new deal. Then shortly after that, they traded him to the Toronto Blue Jays in return for Sean Reed-Foley and Yennsy Diaz, two relievers that were effective at points in the 2021 season for the Mets, and also another prospect that was then traded again for the now outfield prospect that's been really coveted, and yes, Khalil Lee. But now, after his 7th MLB season, first in Toronto, Steven Matz had arguably one of his best seasons of his career, and the numbers definitely show that. At ERA at sub 4 at 3.82, strikeouts at over 140, walks at just over 40, which is the best he's had in his career since his 2016 season. So command definitely helped him a bit in 2021 with Toronto, with a new team, and really getting things developed there, and was a heavy factor in their rotation, not just because of Robbie Ray, the Cy Young winner, not just because of guys like Alek Manoah and Jose Barrios, but Matz was definitely a strong southpaw throughout the year for them and had his career high in wins at 14. So now that Matz is a free agent, there are plenty of teams that'll be interested in him, but let's get into the fact of why this makes sense for the Mets. Why would they even go down this route? Well, they need help with their rotation. We all know that. They need at least two bona fide starters, right? Because not just losing Noah Syndergaard, but with uncertainties on Marcus Stroman, Jacob deGrom, you don't know what you're getting from him. At least health-wise, we need to make sure he's healthy, hopefully, but he needs to prove it in 2022 and beyond. Carlos Carrasco coming off of another surgery, second consecutive year now with the Mets in an offseason where he can't go about things his normal routine. And in his mid-30s, we don't really know what he is. He's a wild card right now. And then Taijuan Walker, a Jekyll and Hyde season in his first year as a Met. We don't know what to expect from him consistency-wise yet. So Mets have a lot of things that they need to address with this rotation, but Steven Matz would help give them stability, especially as a southpaw, something this team has desperately been needing, especially after a year where you didn't just have one, not two, but three, and David Pearson, who was inconsistent, still young and promising, but is coming off of a significant foot injury, so we don't know what to get from him. And you'd have to think that if Pearson is your starting pitcher in the rotation for the Mets in 2022, it's not looking too promising for a team that has aspirations to have a deep playoff run next year and have some championship winning success in the years going forward. You're looking at Rich Hill, the veteran free agent. We don't know if he's going to return with the Mets or not, if the Mets would even show interest. And also Joey Lucchesi, you know, Joey Fuego, Mr. Churv. He's a guy that is on Tommy John surgery dealing with, so he's not going to be back anytime soon. So the Mets need a southpaw. Steven Matz definitely helps bring that stability on the southpaw front, at least. But with saying that, there's endless question marks that come with a guy like Steven Matz on why the Mets would even go after him, as to why it might not be the best route for them, because Matz is someone that you don't even know if he wants to return, right? Because he made it known that a change of scenery felt needed and was better for him after landing in Toronto, and that definitely showed this past year. And he would want to make sure that, one, he's comfortable, so he needs to make sure that he's here. Probably a multi-year contract that, you know, you don't necessarily know if that's going to be a good or a bad thing. Won't be a high value, but we do know this free agent market this year is very expensive. So maybe you would have to do a little bit of an overpayment for a guy like Steven Matz. We really don't know right now, but so far everything's been pricey on the pitching front, so you'd have to land him. You'd have to give him stability and knowing that he's for sure going to be your everyday fit starter, because if he's not, then why would he come here when he knows that there's other available options per se to be, say, even a 2 or a 3 with other clubs right now? He wouldn't be with that with the Mets. At least he shouldn't, right? But you also have the family connection, so maybe all that and his long-term connection with the Mets would be something that he would like to rekindle. We still don't know at this point in time. And more than anything, if the Mets brought him in, they would have to make sure that he's a 4th or 5th starter, potentially pushing Cookie Carrasco out of the rotation. Maybe they go with a 6-man rotation or something, because you need to keep Marcus Stroman, hopefully, and also another bona fide starter like a Max Scherzer, even though I don't think it's likely. If you throw enough dough at him, we'll see what happens. Looking at other people like maybe a Robbie Ray, a Kevin Gausman, someone big in free agency that'll help really give you a 3-headed monster in this rotation, because Matz, if you have him by himself here as maybe your 4th or 5th starter, but you don't do anything really significant, maybe you do even lose Marcus Stroman, that's a big problem for this team. They should not be betting on a guy like Steven Matz to be their go-to guy at all, and they should not at all means be going into free agency in the trade market that they only need to address the rotation a little bit. They need to address it a lot of it, add depth beyond what they've had even last year. They need to do a lot on this rotation front. So with all those things being said, Matz, what is his desire to even want to come here? And for the Mets, if you're going to land him, is that enough of a piece for you for your 5th starter, or do you think that you have better options elsewhere? Southpaw wise, they definitely do. Will they want to throw money at certain guys like a Ray, knowing the compensation pick? Probably not. It feels uncertain right now. Carlos Rodon, his health uncertainty, but if he's healthy, he's one of the most dominant pitchers in the game right now, so keep that in mind. Looking at a guy like Alex Wood from San Francisco that we discussed also, that has upside, but he has been a little inconsistent, awfully similar to Steven Matz. So the Mets, there's, again, valid reasons as to why they would be going down this route, but there's also valid reasons as to why this could be head scratching. So we're going to see what comes of this. I really don't know how to feel at this point in time. They definitely need to add starting pitching and add it rather fast before we potentially have a lockout with the CBA, should that happen, and all these other things. But no less, Mets fans, let me know all your thoughts and comments below. How do you feel about Steven Matz potentially coming back to the New York Mets? Do you think it would be a reunion that's welcome, or do you think it's a route that the Mets shouldn't go down, and hopefully they say go for a different southpaw or different routes, or maybe that Steven Matz just simply decides he doesn't want to go back to the New York Mets? Make sure to let me know all your thoughts in the comments below as always, folks. And again, folks, if you ended up enjoying this kind of Mets content and you want to see more great Mets content like this, make sure to smash that like and subscribe on, sharing this video with your friends, on the notification bell, all those great things. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Help us get a 10K subs. We're so close right now, and we'll be doing a big giveaway on the channel once that happens. But again, thank you again, folks, and I'll talk to you soon. Let's go Mets, baby.